Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday afternoon. I just wanted to pop on for a few minutes, do a short little video for you guys on my new favorite shading brush that I got in Oklahoma. And in a minute, when I turn the camera down, I'll give you a better look at it. But it is a soft curve brush, and I have just found it to be great to avoid harsh lines when you're shading, even highlighting. I don't know. I really, really like this brush. I used it on my last live, and I said I was going to do a little video. So I had just a little surface laying around, and I put some stuff on it, and I just kind of want to show you how much I love the brush. So let me just turn my camera down. Hang on. Looks pretty good. So this is just a black surface, and I just, like I said, I just drew some shapes on here, but this is the brush, and next to the black, you can really see how it has this, let me get a pointer. It has a curved side to it. Oops, sorry, my thumb was in the way. A curved side, as opposed to, which I'm not saying there's anything, I still use regular angle brushes, but it doesn't have the angle part to it. And I do still use these for other things, but there's just some things I have really found this a lot easier to float with. So I thought I would just demonstrate a couple different things here for you. And then I have a surface I was working on that needs some floating done to it. So I just thought I would show you how that works. And I'm just picking some paint that I had on my wet palette, on my palette that I'm working with, which I think will show up real nice next to this. So of course, like anybody else, you know, you dip in and load your brush and just work it in. And I'm just going to start on this circle here. And this is just chalk, so it may disappear as I float with it. But it just gives it such a smooth edge. And sometimes when you're done floating with an angle, you'll have a harsh line. Now that does seem harsh, but I think it's because it's against the black. But you could still go in and help tap it out. And then now that it's drying, I can see it on camera. It looks super. And then I'm going to come down on this oval. And again, I'm working on a surface that I had here. And I'm just using a blue. Another trick I have learned, oops, not enough water in my brush, let's just take that one off, because I started that whole thing wrong because my paint was too dry, or my brush was too dry. So let's get this off real quick so that I can try this again. I did not have enough water in my brush, which is why it did not move. The other trick I've learned is using a wet palette. Instead of always having a paper towel at the side, I find if I just tap it on my the paper towel that's in my wet palette, it seems to pull just enough moisture out for me. You know, we'll let that oval dry, and I'll just come to this square, and I'm just going to come. But what I'm also going to do that I've learned is never to float right on the line a lot of times. You're better off if you are a little bit out from it. If you're a little bit out from it, then you can come back and just walk it right back up. And that also helps to eliminate any kind of harsh line. As soon as it dries, you'll see the difference on how it you don't have that hard line. It looks like a hard line now because of the moisture that came out of my brush. So let's move back over here, and I'll try this longer oval. And again, I'm not going to come right next to it. I'm going to come a little bit down, and then I'm going to walk it out. But you can really get a nice long float with this brush. I want to go, when you're doing squares, even if you're using a regular angle brush, you do have to wait for it to dry, because if you try to float on the line that's still damp, you're gonna erase it. It's just gonna wipe it out. It just happens no matter what you're floating with. So I'm coming back again, and I am a back and forth kind of floater. That's just how I do it. And I'm just putting down that color. Now I'm going to hit it with my blow dryer here so that I can show you the sides in a minute. But blow dryer, heat tool, sorry, I mean a fancy heat tool. But I will say, even when you're doing circles, I mean, I've never been able to see anyone float a complete circle. And if you can, I want to see it. So now I'm going to come this way. I'm also left-handed, so I tend to float backwards because I am left-handed. And now I'm just going to move to this one, this side over here. That's probably why I blend my brush the way I do too, because I'm a lefty. But see, I'm not even going to try and finish that float there because it's just going to wipe it out no matter what I do. So I'll hit that. And then I'm going to hit up here as well, so I can finish that. And then I'm going to give those a minute to set. And I came back and I got more water and paint in my brush. And I'm going to show you this side float now. Oops, I lied. Not enough water. I lied. Oh, that's much better. And see, I don't know. It has to be because I'm left-handed that I float like this. And this is just like a sapphire blue that I'm using on this black background. Just to show you these little tricks. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to go back to this circle. And come on. Again, not right next to the line, but out a little bit, and then pull it and walk it in. Of course, nothing goes right when you want to do a video. Oh boy. Again, not enough water. Sorry about that one. That one looks like crap. So let's go back down here to this triangle. Water really is the trick. And people ask, well, how do you know? As I've told people before, one day it'll just click with you as to how much water you feel you need in your brush to float. See, that's how that last one should have been, was like that. Let me go over here. We'll let that dry. And I'm going to come back over on this oval. And float this outward and to the side. And then I wanted to show you, let me get an angle brush. I'm going to get a regular angle brush now. It's probably too big, but I just grabbed a brush I had handy. Oh yeah, this is way big. But you know what? That's all right. It'll still work. So sometimes, so let's just do one of these straight lines. When I'm with an angle brush, that you will end up getting a harsher line. Of course, today, look at that, I can float pretty good, but let's do the opposite side. with the soft curve and compare it. This also was a little bit bigger brush than the soft curve that I picked up to do this demo with. But now we'll come on this side and float it out. And see, I don't feel it walks out with the soft curve as far as it does with the angle. They both still look pretty good, but I still prefer the soft curve. So now I'm going to come up here and I'll shade this side for you. And when you float, especially on a dark surface like this, depending on how much you've walked your paint out and stuff, it may look, oh, look at that, I just stuck my hand in what I just did. Oh, Laura. Anyway, so we're going to let that dry, and then I'm going to come back over here onto this circle, and we'll kind of finish shading that up, giving that a little more shape. And see, I realized, I put my brush down and I realized I didn't have enough water. So I went back and I got more water in the brush, and now it was floating better. And so let's finish up this little oval here. I'm kind of in watching myself doing this, I'm also kind of a pity pat floater, which a lot of people are. So let me hit these again. And you can see the difference in how much paint. I had more paint on this float than I did on the other. Or, yeah, more paint and not enough water. But again, sometimes you want a wider, brighter float like that. So I'm going to just, I feel like this side doesn't match that one too much. So I'm going to come back and I'm just going to re-float it. And because I come up on this edge, that's how I avoid the sharp line. So down here, I did just some outlines of some flower petals and then some like evergreen leaves. And I'm going to dip into a green that I have on my palette. Hopefully it'll keep working. And I'm going to float on these, because that's all dry. I'm going to float. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to show up. Oh, you know what? Paint color change. Let's go a brighter color. This is just a demo. So let's do that, because I do want it to show up. So I'm just going to come along where the, whoopsie. Yes, I am if I have paint in my brush. Guess I took it all out. I'm just going to come and I'm going to float on the edge of the holly leaf. Sorry, holly leaf. I'm trying to figure out what I'm saying here. And then I'm going to come up this side on this one and pull it and just pull it over. So we'll let those set for a minute, and I'm just going to go into white. And I'm just going to, I'm going to go into my white. I keep saying I am. Oh, there we go. I'm going into white. And I'm going to now come on these petals. Just so worried. Okay, it'll be fine. And see, when you have a curved surface or a curved pattern that you're line drawing or that you're working on too, you just get such a beautiful, I feel anyway, it curves with the shape that you're working with. The brush does, because of the way it's cut, as opposed to just having a point on it because of the curved tip. And then I'm gonna try doing this whole one, and we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, see, this one I was able to get the whole petal. See if I can do it on this one too. And then we'll move over to this one here. And also, when you use an angle brush, you want to be on, you don't want to be up on the tip and trying to float, because it's just, that's what you're going to get. You want to be able to push and move this paint that's in the brush when you're floating. So you can, that's another thing that took me a while to figure out, is that you have to be at an angle, like on the side, in order to get it. I'm going to let those set up for a minute, and I'm going to go back to the green. Maybe I'll go a little brighter this time on it. And I'll come back. Yeah, this is going to be brighter than the first one, but that's okay, because I still want you to be able to see it. Or at least I hope it is. And then you're going to just float that on there. Same thing over here. Well, the citron green really is not getting as bright as I had hoped it would against the black. But like I said, I do have something to show you, so I can do that in a minute. So see how it just doesn't give you the harsh lines that you get with an angle brush. So this is what I've been working on. It's part of a Rosemary West design. And so let me show you what I was doing on this. I dry brushed some of her Pacific blue onto the these snowflake points that are out. But now I want to come back and I want to shade like I've done on these others. So again, I'm going to do it in spots. I'm going to shade on these ends first. And don't be worried about a water line, because that will dry, because I'm seeing water lines on there right now, but I'm not really going to worry about it, because it will dry and it will go away. And then on this little triangle piece, again, I don't want to wipe anything out, so I'm going to float it down. And I don't care if it goes a little on there, because I did float on the inside rim. Same thing with this side here. Oops, I need some more water. Sometimes you can get away with you can get a lot of floats before you have to, or at least I can. Not to be bragging, but I can get, depending on the amount of water you have, the surface you're working on, and the pressure you use. Okay. So I'm going to hit this real quick, because I want to be able to move on and show you the rest of it. Okay, so I shaded on the ends. So now I want to come and I want to shade on the inside part of Where did it go? Oh, here it is, of these flakes. Sorry, I had to turn it. And I'm usually, especially with this brush, I can get around and do the whole corner. Except for it wasn't quite dry, even though I hit it. This is just Sonia paint, so, you know, it can be picky. It'll lift on you if you're not careful, if you're not dry all the way. All right, let's give that a minute to set. So we'll go back to this little snowflake, this little point or whatever I was working on before. And just float that up there like that. And then see, I floated on there already to show you, but it was so soft, it really didn't show up. So I'm going to float it a second time. Because if it's too soft, it just will disappear into the surface. Okay, we're going to try this again on here to show you how easily it goes around this curve for me. So I'm at this spot here. I did have to stop a minute to lift, but I didn't get any funky line. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to pull this, curve it a little around. And you got that all done in one float with this brush. Sorry. Uh-oh. Sorry, it looks like I froze. Sorry about that. So let's do this side now. And we're gonna come down. I'm gonna flip my brush only because I'm trying not to move my surface. Well, that didn't work very well. So let me go back. Go this way. It just works better when I just keep it down on the surface. Do you see how that worked? I know this isn't, well, be quiet. Don't criticize yourself so much, right? Okay, so we'll let those set for a minute, and then the one that I just had floated on both sides, now I just want to come across the bottom of this. And then I can see I need some to come up here. I dropped paint on here after I had it painted score, so I had to fix my boo-boo. So now I'm coming back and I'm doing this inner circle again with the blue to set it back. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's try this top one. I'm going to come across and I'm going to pull it. And I want to make sure for this next one, because it's bigger, that I have enough water to make the pull. So we just did that one. And let me tell you, when I started painting these outer snowflake things, I had to mark one with chalk because I couldn't remember where I started and stopped by the time I got around the whole thing the day I was painting. I'm like, where did I stop and where did I start? So again, I'm going to come over here. And see, even if I lifted, which I just lifted on that one, it didn't make much of a difference in the float. The surface is a little rough in that one spot. That's why it did not float very well there. And okay, so we can do this one same way. And then I flipped my brush and I'm coming down And look at that. I mean, I can't get over how beautiful it just looks. And it's all, I could not do something like this with an angle brush. I've tried. So I need to do up here on this one. And then again, pull and just come across. Just trying to make sure I got all the sides before I float across the bottom. These are easier because you're just floating on the bottom. But you want to make sure that you have all of the other elements done. I don't know that I did this one. So that's, or again, I might have, and then it just faded because it was a lighter float. But just look at how pretty that is. Oh, it's just so pretty. So pretty. I think I doesn't look like I see, and even now while I'm just playing with you guys, I'm noticing ones I didn't do. So one last thing, and then I'll go back to the little piece, is I'm going to come down all this way, hopefully in just one motion using the brush. Coming down, and I'm going to go, well, I thought I could do it in one motion. And again, it looks so heavy, but once it dries, it's not as heavy as you think it is. Okay, there's some tooth to this surface, so the pull is not cooperating quite the way I wanted it. But we can try on another one. It's no big deal. Nobody's perfect. I'm just showing you some stuff. So let's go back to this one here. I'm going to do the same thing. Maybe this one will cooperate better. And come down. Walk it up next to this line. And then pull it up there. It just adds a little, I don't know, I just felt like this added a little something more to the surface than just having them paint them blue. I thought it would be pretty to do it this way. So this is my new favorite brush from Silver. For those of you who maybe were at NET, you were able, just recently, I didn't get to go. I hear it was spectacular though I hear they're having storms. And I can't take credit for this piece. This is a Rosemary West design that I'm working on. I'm doing some stuff for a craft show. So, all right, I'm going to move that aside. And then I'm going to just come back to this little thing I'm demoing on again. And just going to show you, I'm going to use blue on the flower instead of the white this time. And I'm just going to come and float the edge of these petals. Now I'm using the blue instead of the white, but it just gives you such a beautiful float. I just can't say it enough. It's just rounded, and it just, of course it doesn't work if you don't stay in the lines, but anyway. And then we'll finish up real quick just this little leaf that we got here. A little line drawing I got going. And we're just going to come back on this side here, on this one. See, now I have more paint in my brush. have to tuck in. It works really well to tuck that in a corner too. So anyway, I hope you learned something from this. I hope you learned something from this. Maybe not, maybe so, but this is the brush. It is the silver. I'm using a number 10 soft. It's Silver Silk 88, 8841S soft curve with this curved tip to give you these great floats on circly type surfaces, and even works well again on a straight line. I'll just show you one more time. Even just if you had to float a straight edge, it just gives you a soft, fun float. I'll turn this one again. I'll do it one more time on this side. I just recommend, if you struggle with floating, give it a whirl. Just give it a whirl. Find yourself one and give it a try. I can't believe how much I loved it. I'm going to come up for a minute. Oopsie. Oh, there I am. I can't see myself on my phone. But anyway, I found this brush when I was in Oklahoma in their booth getting brushes, fillers for Mary Weisson's class. And I was talking to him about how angle brushes, even flats, can split in the middle. And I get told it's too much paint, it's not clean. I don't know. But this one too, I have not found that to be an issue with this brush. So I do believe the brush guys carry this. I did see them on Amazon. But if you're at a convention and you see the Silver Brush Company, I would definitely go in there and get yourself one. Okay, that was just it for today. Just a little something for you. Okay, everybody have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.